Today's video where I'm grabbing a little bit of cash right now in the line at my bank, and I'm gonna go check out a potential new project car for the channel. This is fairly inexpensive, and the way that I'm looking at it is that this is a good way that anybody watching this can actually get into one of these F-bodies really inexpensively, have a lot of fun with the car, and maybe even make a little money on them by the time you're done with it. So hopefully this will be a good purchase. It seems like it's a real cream puff car that a guy's owned for the last 15 years and he's just kind of lost interest in working on. Needs a little bit of love, some maintenance, and hopefully a fairly easy fix on the trans, but we'll know more when we actually go drive it. So anyways, I'm gonna grab a little bit of cash here. We're gonna go for a quick drive and I'll see you guys probably looking at the car, hopefully. Here we go. There's the car. There's a little peek of it. 91 Pontiac Firebird Formula. It's mint. Look at that thing. Looks pretty good. Alright, so the test drive went really good. The guy that I bought it from was super nice. He's had the car for like 15 years right now. It seemed a little bit like he was having a hard time to let it go, but at the end of the day, we agreed on a price, and I actually paid $1,700 for the car. Now, it's a 91 Pontiac Firebird Formula WS6. It has an LB9 two-port injection 305 in it, 700 R4 trans, a GU2 rear differential gear ratio. It's a front disc rear drum car, but luckily it is a posi car with G80 RPO, which is good. So I'm thinking it's going to be a pretty good base for like building a car. It's kind of the new project car on the channel. And the spirit of it is going to be working on things like anybody else would do that's just getting into doing cars. So this is what a lot of people would actually look at buying for their first F-body or an equivalent Fox body or anything like that. It's a great way to get into them, and it's an inexpensive way to have fun and learn how to work on cars. It's how a lot of us do it. So I'm gonna go pick up my sister right now. She's taking my truck home, and I'm gonna try and pilot the car home on its old dry rotted tires. So hopefully we don't have a blowout, and hopefully it makes it, but we'll go over the car more when we get home. All right, first drive home. We're gonna see what we got here. Started fine the last couple times I drove it, but there's our little power antenna coming up. She's good to go. This thing is mint. Car drives pretty good overall. I mean, I'm a big fan of it. The guy was pretty sad to let it go. He had it for 15 years, so think about that. He had it when his kids were born. Stereo works, power antenna's all good, the windows are all good. It's a nice little car. I've had quite a few third generation Camaros and Firebirds over the years, and they're actually a pretty good value for like a car that you can go have fun in. This one's inexpensive enough where I wouldn't feel bad going drifting it around on a dirt road or doing a bunch of burnouts in it or really beating on it. They're so inexpensive that, you know, unless something terrible goes wrong, you're looking at doing a motor or transmission, they're so underpowered that they're pretty good. I haven't actually had a problem with overdrive at all, like he was saying. The advertisement actually said that it doesn't like going into overdrive, but it shifts fine into it every time. If you let off the gas a little bit, it goes right in. So we might have a TV cable adjustment issue or some other type of deal going on. But It could use shocks all the way around, or at least the rear ones. It needs 4 tires, that's for sure, but I could put a cheap set of tires on this, and I'm gonna look at maybe getting the front bumper cover resprayed so far, and that'll be a good chunk of the problems with the car. It's actually just a nice driver. It does idle a little high in park and neutral. When it goes into drive, it drops right down where it's supposed to, but it's right around 1200 RPM when it's in park and the engine's just idling. So there's a couple things to look at on it, and other than normal maintenance that I'll do to it, so far so good. Well, what better time to see if it'll do a burnout than right now? Sweet. All right, there we go. It's made it for 20 or 30 minutes so far. Put a little fuel in it. But otherwise, yeah, the car's driving really, really awesome. I could not be happier with it. All right, so I passed another crucial test. I filled up the fuel tank at the gas station with a full tank, and we don't have any leaks. It's good to go. Overdrive works on it. What I have noticed is it does hesitate a little bit at real low RPM, so we do have a misfire going on right now, and that could be part of the problem that the previous owner thought was going on with the transmission. Not that it can't be the transmission or a torque converter issue, but he actually described it not wanting to shift into overdrive until you put the car down here in drive, and then bumped it into overdrive when you're up at highway speed and when you get your foot off the gas. So you almost had like a little trick you had to do. But so far, it drives fine. I haven't had any problem with it at all, even when it's warm after doing a couple burnouts. So I'll have to see what's actually going on with it here. Well, it made it home in one piece. Now we got to find out if it does a good burnout or not. Probably a little bit shaky, but I am almost home with the car. I'll probably let it sit for the night, and tomorrow morning I'm going to give it a good once over and see what's what. I'll check all the fluids, which I actually haven't done yet, and I would not recommend not doing that. But anyways, the car made it home. You can't really ask for much more. And it does burnout, so bonus. Alright, so it's day 2. I'm going to go for a little drive in the car. This is the first cold start. About as quiet as they get. It's all 100% stock, so don't expect much out of one of these. Sounds like there's a little bit of a manifold exhaust leak, or one of the cups on the bottom of the exhaust manifolds is leaking, or one of the pipes anyways. But did have a little bit of trouble starting. I'll have to take a look at that. I guess it's really my first cold start. The guy that actually owned the car before me said he didn't drive it for about a week before I went and actually started it. It seemed to start just fine yesterday, so we'll take a look at it. Maybe it's got something to do with the idle issue. We could have a mass airflow sensor that's dirty or having a problem. We could have a throttle position sensor and idle air control motor issue. These are things that we can actually take a look at and fix and test real easily. I'm going to do a lot of stuff based on what is kind of tried and true information on the tech section of thirdgen.org. So if you're not familiar with that forum, or if you're only on the F-Body like Facebook pages, forget all that, go to thirdgen.org or LS1 Tech for the 4th generation F-Body, LS1, or even the LT1 stuff on there. It's all real good info. So I'll be doing a lot of the testing and stuff based solely on that. All right, we'll see what kind of performance we can actually get out of the car. Got the passenger window open, but we'll just go from a quick stop. I'll be manually shifting. Here we go. Little wheel spin. It's not bad. You know, there's definitely worse cars out there as far as speed goes. I'm not saying that the car is fast in any way. I really do wish that the car had the optional T5 transmission, or that the person that purchased the car bought the performance option rear end on the car. Give her just a little bit again here. So the automatic in this car is a 700R4 transmission. It is tragically slow. The 1-2 shift is pretty bad. The 2-3 shift isn't really that great either. It's not what I would consider in any way, shape, or form a performance transmission or anything remotely fun. But being that the TPI engines are so torquey, it's actually kind of fun to drive. Now by today's standards, it wouldn't be a fast car, but overall it does get out of its own way, being a 2-port injected car, and that's about all you can really ask for $1,700. Seems to run really good. The motor feels healthy. It's not as fast as my other Trans Am on the channel, but this one's a really good starting point if you're looking for a project car or anything like this. It's so hard to beat these for the value. Now, a lot of people would tell you that you should probably look at getting a Fox body Mustang, which I would actually agree with, but you can't really find them in this kind of like running, driving, pretty well maintained shape for $1,700. I mean, maybe you can, and good for you, but I couldn't find one. I've been shopping for a long time for a cheap project car. But so far, this one seems to fit the bill. Handles pretty good. This car is a Firebird Formula, which also includes a WS6 suspension package, which will give you different wheels, different front and rear sway bars, and a quick ratio steering box. As far as the rear end goes, it is a 10-bolt rear end with the 273 gear ratio like I'd already mentioned. The pinion doesn't seem to be leaking. There's no gear noise. There's no grinding under turning, so I think everything in the rear end is great. There's a little bit of a vibration at highway speed, but I think that would get taken care of with some new tires because these are in real bad shape, like I said. Now, we're gonna get off the main road here and hit a little bit of dirt, and you can see just how much fun you can have with these. There's 60 again. Brakes feel pretty good. Let's see what kind of performance we can get out of it. I'm just gonna leave it in drive and let the trans do its thing. Let's see here, no burnout needed. All right, here we go. It did come with some extra parts. I've got a set of front brake pads for it that I can turn on. The rotors and pads seem good, but if I do want to swap them, I've already got these and I will use them at some point, I guarantee it. Throttle body gasket. This is a idle air control motor and a throttle position sensor and a used O2 sensor. So I'm wondering if he had already gone through what I thought might be going on with the throttle body or the high idle issue, because these appear to be used. So I'll take a quick look at those on the car and see if they're new. If they are, we may have to do our throttle position sensor adjustment, well, what's in this box, and you can actually calibrate your idle air control motor steps using a sort of rudimentary method, but it does work. It's on thirdgen.org, so we'll run through both of these, make sure they're good. Obviously, headlight motor, they go through these real quick. We can get these rebuilt or buy new ones, but I'll probably end up putting the brass geared or brass or aluminum geared replacement gears in here and see if I can get it to work if the motors are any good. I also have a couple of hood support strut rods, which is good because, like any good third generation Camaro Firebird, the front hood struts are blown and they don't work at all. So right now, if I remove this, I will die on camera, which I don't want. And yeah, anyways, in the next video, we're gonna go a little bit more over this LB9 305 twin port injection engine. It's in super good shape. It's pretty clean overall. After beating on it a little bit here, trying to wring it out, we do have a little bit of oil accumulation up on the valve covers, but otherwise, nothing seems to be leaking anywhere. The radiator is newer. You put a brand new battery in it. Overall, looks to be in really good shape. So this is pretty much the car. I probably should be filming this outside, which is too bad, but you can see the giant front air dam on it. It's in pretty good shape. One thing I haven't seen before is these side skirts. They're on each side. They're a black urethane, just like the front air dam. And to be honest, I have no idea what they are, if they're a factory GM part or if they're aftermarket. But I did reach out to F-Body Empire and hoping somebody chimes in on there. I'll put text in the video if they get back to me here real quick, which I'm thinking they will. Here's the other side. This is a WS6 car, which I believe all formulas are of this vintage. It comes with the different wheels and tires, as well as the front and rear sway bars, and I'm not sure what else. The quick steering ratio box, I guess. Check over the interior real quick. The door hinges are actually great on these. They don't move at all. They're rock solid and doors shut nice, which is also uncommon. On this Trans Am, I need to put door hinges and pins in this because it does sag a little bit and you got to lift it and shut it because it's a little bit worn out. The dash pad is mint, which is worth a few $100 in and of itself. I can't see through the windshield, but see if you can get a view of the dash pad there. Got a crack on it. It's awesome. Headliner's got a little bit of water damage on it. The gaskets for the T-tops leak. Back seats look great. In the next video when we're working on the car, we're going to see what treasures are under these seat bottoms, because if you've owned one of these cars in the past, you know that there is money under here, tools, pipes, you name it. Anything that someone in the back seat has been sitting back there with has inevitably fallen between these seats. I'll go real quick to the back of the car. Here you can see the condition of the paint on the spoiler. It's really in tough shape. I don't know if this is the fiberglass of the spoiler being damaged by UV rays or sunlight, but it's really tough looking. It's scratched to hell, as you can see here. So when I get the front bumper painted or looked at, this is something I'm also going to see if I can have addressed and touched up. Because if you look at the car, it's in really good shape. It's not really everybody's cup of tea. I prefer the Trans Am look with the Trans Am front bumper, like a GTA car. I did have an 87 GTA for a while. That was an awesome car. If you didn't know, these actually have a power assisted motor. There we go. Struts are tired back here too. See if I take my hand off. Need struts in the back, but otherwise everything's real clean back here. We got our T-top bag and a trunk lid cover and a locking storage unit. And of course, we've got the car show monkey. So that little guy was in there. Well, there's not much to show you back here. In the next video, we will start doing repairs and maintenance on this car, and we're going to try and get it running as good as we can and make a little burnout machine out of it. So far it does pretty good, but it could definitely use some more horsepower. It's a little bit lacking in that department. The Trans Am here's got a little bit more, but I feel bad doing this sort of stuff in it. Here's a look at the major damage on the car. Like I said earlier in the video, it got backed into, which really sucks because this would have been a really, really nice car if this didn't happen. Bumper cover's torn here. It's torn down here also, so I don't know if this is salvageable. Let me know in the comments how you could actually repair this if it's possible, because I'd like to keep it and save a little bit of money. I can do some repairs on it myself. I'm not super afraid of that, but so if you guys like today's video, definitely hit the subscribe button and come back for more content. I don't think there's a lot of people working with these twin port injection engines right now on YouTube, so hopefully this is something a little bit different and interesting for you guys to watch. We're going to be doing all kinds of maintenance to this car, and I'm going to try and keep things affordable and as relatable as possible, because this is a very realistic way for somebody to get into a project car and have a lot of fun with it. So until we start doing our repairs and maintenance on the car, definitely hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you guys in the next video.